Well, welcome back, all of you Ugnots and Jawas, to another episode of Mando Talk. I am your host, Caleb Keller, and joined alongside me on this fine, lovely, beautiful evening is my brother, Jacob Keller.
What's up? It is I.
Listen, we have a ton to get to on this week's episode. We've got a couple of Star Wars things going on this week.
Some Star Wars news.
We've got to catch back up. So we're continuing our Mandalorian Season 1 Rewatch series. And
we've got two episodes to cover.
Yeah, we took 1 week off because we specifically focused on reviewing, reacting to the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer. So we are going to focus on getting caught back up. So we've got two incredible chapters. Personally, Chapter 4, Sanctuary, is honestly one of my favorites.
Yeah?
And I feel like it is very much underrated.
Yeah, you did say that earlier.
But we will talk more about that later. So we're going to talk about Chapter 4, Sanctuary. But we are also going to talk about Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. Don't like this one as much as Chapter 4. It's a good entry in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I do think there are some cons to it, and we might have some time to talk about that maybe later. If I remember to talk about cons, I usually don't like to get negative, though, unless I'm in a negative mood.
Right.
I don't know if I feel negative tonight. I think I'm feeling positive vibes only.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Same here.
It might change. You know, you might say something that's like, geez, this guy. And then I'm just going to go down that rabbit hole.
Right.
All right.
I might slip up and say something that makes him a negative Nelly.
Yeah. Yeah, it tends to happen sometimes. You know, brothers, we bump heads. Yeah, I mean, we hit each other with lightsabers all the time.
We used to, yeah.
Listen, man, have you ever, and those of you probably listening can understand this feeling, there is no pain like lightsaber dueling with your brother or sister and getting hit in the knuckles while you're holding the handle.
Oh, no.
That's one of the worst feelings,
like
especially as a kid.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll never forget that pain, man.
Mm-hmm.
And you would do it to me all the time. Like, every time we would do it, I think you would do it on purpose just because I was a crybaby. Let's be honest. I cried a lot. You're getting to know the Keller brothers a little bit.
I think I remember that. I think that's a little accurate.
Listen, all I know is we destroyed those lightsabers on each other's hands.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, it was Qui-Gon's handle, right? It was Qui-Gon's handle.
All of them were Qui-Gon's handle.
Right, but then all of the colors were different. We had blue, red, and green.
We had a red?
We did at one point.
Yeah, we did.
It didn't last long because, you being evil, using that on my knuckles, it ended up breaking in half.
Whenever we would use that one, that's when we went full-on rage mode.
We just bounced off each other's beds. And man, I wish we had Revenge of the Sith while we were at that age so we could reenact the high ground scene and you stand on the bunk bed and I try to jump all the way up there.
Didn't we, though?
Oh, I don't know. I don't remember doing it, though. I feel like that would have been pretty epic.
No, all of that really brought on a flashback.
Yeah,
I just remember being in the backyard and beating each other up.
Listen, we could have an entire episode focused on Star Wars like memories and childhood reflection.
We could.
All right, so this week we are doing a reflection series. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously though, let us know what your favorite Star Wars memory is. Maybe just growing up, or by yourself. If you were an only child, that's cool. Mm-hmm. But also, if you had a brother or sister and y'all like to, or friends, and you reenacted some Star Wars stuff, let us know what that is. I think about that stuff quite often, honestly. I kind of miss those days.
Yeah, I wish I could go back. Or maybe we should
reenact it at our age right now.
whip out them lightsabers again and get to hacking at each other.
I mean, we could, but these new lightsabers, plastic lightsabers they
Yeah.
make, are not as sturdy.
Nah,
I don't
they're
think the
not.
knuckle paint is as bad.
Well, but you have one of the originals
I
right
do.
there.
That's the only original
Is it?
Keller brother beating each other, leaving flesh wounds on each other lightsaber that is left. Maybe
Wow.
we should show that to the camera next week. We should show how beat up it
Yeah.
is. Okay, we just went down deep into a rabbit hole there, just talking about our memories, but that was a good one. So let us know what your favorite Star Wars memory is. So let's get into it. We got a lot to do this week, a lot to cover, and the first thing that we're going to focus on is just this week in the galaxy far, far away. A lot of stuff going on in Star Wars as we're building up to The Mandalorian Season 2. I mean, that's what we're doing here. We're trying to hype you up for that by doing this Rewatch series. So we're getting a little tidbits each and every single week. Not much this week as far as The Mandalorian goes, but a big thing for Star Wars gamers out there. Star Wars Squadrons is available to play on October 2nd, which that is the day that this podcast episode is released. So hopefully as you're listening to this, maybe you've had an opportunity to check that game out. Now, unfortunately, I will not be able to check that game out. We are going kind of into the woods, camping a little bit, getting away from things. Me,
taking a little break.
You, Nolan will be there. I mean, all of Mando Talk, basically.
Yeah.
It's like a Mando Talk getaway.
Yeah.
So I won't have a chance to play Squadrons. Me and Jacob, before we started recording and watching Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, we looked at some initial reviews. I think the one that stuck out to me was...
I know what you're talking about.
No, I'm being positive here.
Oh, okay.
The one that stuck out to me was it's as good and as hard as you could imagine flying an X-Wing would be. I think that's what the headline said.
Yeah.
That's really, that makes me want to get it. Just that headline.
Me too.
And I didn't really click it.
I thought that was interesting reading that.
Yeah, and I didn't really go deep into it and read what it had to say, but...
It makes it sound like it's really fun.
Yeah, and the price tag for it, again, because it's cheaper than most games, I don't see why I wouldn't get it. I believe it's going for $40.
Okay.
That's American money there. I know we have a couple of UK listeners, so I don't know what it is over there, or if the release time is the same, because I know they get things different sometimes. Maybe sometimes before us or after. But anyway, Star Wars Squadrons. Are you going to play it?
Yeah, I would love to.
So, okay, I guess the expectation is that I get it, and then when everyone comes over on podcast nights, we all play it.
Something like that.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Something like that.
Okay, I think we should do some form of just social media kind of thing with Star Wars Squadron. I think that'd be pretty cool. Even if it was just like a live stream on YouTube of us playing it, or maybe just like a quick little video of us playing it to put on our socials. I think that'd be fun. Don't you?
It would, yeah.
It'd be interesting. You get to see our dirty sides where we're just yelling at each other.
Competitive sides?
Yeah, throwing things in here. No, but for
just
real.
like beating each other up with lightsabers.
Yeah, for real. Let us know what you think of Star Wars Squadrons, and that way maybe you should persuade us even more to go and get that game, and maybe we can check it out before next week's episode.
So, are you going to get it?
I think eventually at some point I will.
Yeah.
No doubt. I mean...
Well, I know we talked on here about somehow playing it for the podcast, but, we could do some other thing, like a YouTube video.
Yeah. I don't know if we could... Okay, to be honest, I used to be a really big gamer, but now that life has kind of just started getting busier...
No, you weren't a big gamer.
Okay, true,
I know people who are much more...
Very true. Okay, mentally I thought that I was, until I realized what really being a gamer meant. But now it's even less. Like, I don't remember the last time I played a video game.
Yeah?
I think it might have been May, June.
Wow.
So, but because it says Star Wars, I'll buy it. Even if I don't finish the game, I'm still going to buy it just to check it out.
Yeah.
So
You know what I want? You know what would really get me into gaming is some kind of Star Wars game like Skyrim.
Okay, I've never played Skyrim.
You haven't?
Never, but I've heard a lot of great things about it.
Yeah, it's a, I don't think, is it RPG?
Possibly, I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I don't know what those terms mean, but it's like...
Yeah, this isn't
shows
a video
you how
game
little
podcast.
I know. It's like a whole world, it's huge, and you can go
open
do
world.
whatever you want.
Open world.
Yeah.
So it's like Red Dead.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so... let me share.
That's what Skyrim is.
Let me share with you my Star Wars video game dream.
Okay.
An open world Red Dead version, but you're a bounty hunter.
Huh.
Going throughout the galaxy, bouncing from planet to planet to planet.
Or see, how about this? How about something like that? But you can choose whether you want to be a bounty hunter, a Jedi, a Sith.
See, that's just too good for it to even happen, I don't.
Well, it needs to happen.
Agreed. I cannot disagree.
That would get me into gaming.
Let us know what you think of Star Wars Squadrons, and let us know what your dream Star Wars video game is. Reach out to us. Comment on the YouTube video. Get at us on social media. Check it out. Let us know what you think. Okay, next kind of thing going on in the galaxy far, far away. We've got a new Mandalorian Season 2 poster, and I'm going to pull that up real quick just so it helps us kind of discuss it. Not a lot kind of is given to us as far as, this is going to be like a plot detail or anything. Yeah. Nothing like that, to where usually when you look at your movie posters, you're like, that's interesting. Why does Finn have that lightsaber? Why are Rey's staff and Kylo's lightsaber touching each other? I mean, I remember when The Force Awakens came out, I dissected that poster so much. There isn't really much.
I can see why.
Yeah,
there's a lot in it.
For sure. Looking at it right now.
Yeah.
Okay, but there isn't much going on with this Mandalorian poster. However, go ahead.
We were talking, there isn't really much new content in this poster, but it is still, like more visuals for what we can expect to see in the season. But, nothing new, nothing that really hints at expounding more on what we could see, but it just reveals a little more of a certain scene. So why don't we describe the scene, I guess?
What scene? What do you mean?
In the poster.
Oh, in the poster. Okay,
Yeah.
I got you. Okay. So, see, I had two kind of different things when I saw the poster initially.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's on the speeder,
mm-hmm.
and when I see him on the speeder, I'm like, okay, he's on Tatooine. But because everything's so blue, like, is it just putting him on the speeder and then putting Mon Cala or that ocean planet as just the background?
Yeah.
So I don't even know if this is actually a real scene, but just two scenes pieced together to look sick. See what I'm saying?
Could be.
Or is it like Tatooine as the twin suns are setting, and so it kind of looks bluey?
Yeah, because light does that.
Yeah.
At nightfall.
Who knows, man? I mean, again, we're trying to dissect literally Mando on a speeder.
Do speeders fly over water? Have we ever seen that?
I don't know if we've ever seen it, but I don't see why they wouldn't. They fly over. They hover. Let's not say fly.
Yeah.
They hover over land. So I don't see why they couldn't hover over water.
Well, we know so much about how those speeders hover.
Absolutely. At Star Wars University, I majored in hovercraft in the galaxy far away.
Well, I majored in anti-gravity propulsion systems.
Okay.
So I know a lot about how this stuff works.
Very nice. Very nice. Other than that, though, I mean, you got the child, Baby Yoda, hanging out at the back of the speeder, just kind of looking very cute, like, as always.
Yeah.
But other than that, no like big details like, oh, here comes this in season 2.
Right.
It's just again something else that they're pumping out to keep people
Right. Let's put it this
interested.
way: there's no spoilers in the poster. That's a good way to put it.
Absolutely not. Like not even close.
But it's pretty and it's really cool.
It is. It'd be a cool poster to have in studio.
Oh yeah.
Very nice to look at. Okay. Those were the 2 things that we got this week in the galaxy far, far away. So now we are going to dive deep into season 1 of The Mandalorian by continuing our rewatch series. And again, we have 2 chapters to hit tonight. We've got chapter 4, Sanctuary. We're going to do that one first. Then we have chapter 5, The Gunslinger. Now, we're picking up with chapter 4. Again, I said this at the top. Chapter 4, underrated. I enjoy every single second in this episode. Like, there's not one second where I'm like, oh, man, just, like, hurry up or anything like that, you know? Sometimes with TV shows, you're like, okay, yeah, give me, the big things. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
I just enjoyed being on the planet of Sorgan, and Mando is flying through space. He's trying to find a safe place to go after everything's gone down with the guild. He stumbles upon Sorgan, and my question for us now, because again, with this rewatch series, we are trying to connect everything that we see to season 2 somehow, or seasons beyond. Do you, Jacob, think that we are going to see Sorgan again? And I have a really interesting thought to pass to you if you want me to go ahead and share while you're collecting your thoughts.
Well, first, let me say,
okay,
I'm really glad that someone feels the same way about Chapter 4 as I do.
Nice.
Because I've always loved Chapter 4.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure, we got Chapter 4 through 6, I think, have been seen as like the interlude between the big climax parts.
No doubt.
But I love this chapter 4.
Yeah.
And it's good to hear someone else who agrees with that.
Absolutely.
Who sees that.
Absolutely. So, question here.
Yeah, so what's your question?
My question was, do you think we're going to see Sorgan again? The planet. And we don't have to dive deeper into things that we see in this chapter, but just on the surface. Do you think we'll see it again? And I have a really interesting idea.
Okay. I don't think so.
Okay.
And I think the only reason that we would is if it showed up at the very end of the series and Mando went back because he remembered Omera. And,
Okay.
that's the only way that I could see.
So, right on cue, brother connection here. I think that if we do see Sorgan again, here's my take on it. It's a little bit different from your take, though. I don't think that Mando would go back for Omera. I think he would simply go back to allow the child to stay there. Because the child was so happy.
Oh, yeah.
And the child wanted to stay there. I think that it would be really cool if the show went full circle and the child ends up, his story ends there on Sorgan. Now, when we see more in the next season 2, 3, and now we even know 4 because Giancarlo Esposito in a recent interview kind of gave that away, we might see new planets that I'm like, okay, the child connects more with that or connects more with them. But right now on the surface, just seeing what we've seen so far from one season, it'd be really cool, I feel like, if that was the child's final kind of place because he was so happy.
Interesting.
Okay. I mean, and I know that's not as epic as oh, Baby Yoda's with Ahsoka or Baby Yoda's with Rey somehow, and they're going to be the next Jedi passing on to the next generation.
Right.
I know that's not as big as that, but it's simple, and sometimes simple's the more, I'm getting emotional here, the more sentimental ending, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. Do you think we're going to see Sorgan again? I loved that planet. I love being on that planet. I love all the green. Again, I'm a kind of outdoorsy guy. I like being out in nature. So planets like that, I'm like, yeah, I could live there.
Yeah,
Let me build a little cabin.
Me too.
I mean, as long as these dogs don't come into my backyard shooting things.
The
Clitonians.
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, what I loved about it was, again, seeing like the way that other normal people live in the Star Wars galaxy.
Right.
And I keep going back to that. I talked about that with Chapter 2 about the Jawas. And, I just love seeing more of that in Star Wars.
Yeah, I do too.
And also when we get introduced to Cara Dune.
Okay, perfect segment. Perfect segue.
That's awesome. That awesome character.
Yeah.
Awesome acting.
Yeah. The biggest thing that I just took away from seeing them kind of battle when they first meet, I thought they are very much equal in fighting ability.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when one pulls one move, the other does the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it literally comes down to the very end. They pull their blasters right at the same time.
Uh-huh.
And literally, the only thing that kind of settles the situation is the child sipping on the little cup that has become something.
What y'all doing there?
That has blown up. Like, I see that that GIF or however you say it, or meme.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that, and we have it in a bobblehead literally right there on the table.
Yeah.
I've seen that everywhere. I want that as a T-shirt.
Okay.
I want that as a T-shirt. But yeah, anyway,
somebody's out there done that.
Probably. But I think that Cara Dune, perfect introduction, and I cannot wait to see her some more in Season 2.
Yeah, me too.
And I want to see her beyond Season 2. That's how much I'm interested and invested in this character.
Me too.
But I guess we'll have to see. Hopefully she survives Season 2. I don't know.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say something like that.
I literally get nervous about every character except Mando and the child, just because I feel like those are the only two for certains.
Yeah.
And Moff Gideon at this point, because Giancarlo Esposito keeps talking about other seasons.
Mm-hmm.
He's the big bad, I guess, going throughout this thing. All right, so the next key character that we are introduced to is kind of, you teased up earlier, Omira. So you said that you do think that we could see Mando go back for her.
Right.
So is this a relationship that you're invested in?
There.
Is this a relationship that you're fully invested in, or that you think's gonna continue?
I don't think it's me. I think it's a relationship that Mando really wanted to be invested in, but he couldn't.
True.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So do you think that... Okay, if I was to just say to you right now, is Mando or is Din Djarin Endgame end with Omira? Yes or no?
Probably not.
Okay. Sorry, Omira, you lost out on this week's or this season of The Bachelor. Listen, I really enjoyed the character of Omira. I loved the fact that she was ready to go in battle, and there is way more about this character that we do not know.
Ooh, you know what? You said something about this.
Okay.
You said something about how that was a quick fall.
Right.
For Din.
Yeah.
And I just thought just now, like something about her brings that out of Din, where, instead of having to be a fighter and tough, he, it's noticeable, like his tone softens up and he's like saying thank you all the time.
Yeah. And now I also noticed too, though, because I think I made that comment like a little bit early in the episode. I noticed at the beginning of the chapter, Din Djarin says to the child, this will be a good place to lay low for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the very end of the episode, when Din Djarin is talking to Cara and they're kind of reflecting, he's like, well, we've been just kind of hanging out here for a few weeks after the Clitonians have been wiped out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think he was there for a good few months. So, thinking back to when I made that comment, I think it's possible to fall for somebody in 2 or 3 months, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and again, that's just something kind of hard to separate the two because we're seeing a chapter, we're seeing their relationship transpire in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But we have to kind of just think to ourselves, they've set up that it's possible that a few months have gone by.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, yeah. I mean, I would love to see Omira again just to get to know her background a little bit more.
Yes. Yes.
So, yeah, maybe.
Because
And I don't even need it connected as far as them having a relationship. I just kind of want to see some more of her. I thought she was really cool.
Yeah, me too.
Were you going to add anything to that?
It just really makes you wonder how she's such a good shooter, you know?
Very true.
Was she a soldier? You know, where was she at?
I don't know.
Was she a deserter, and was she like a stormtrooper or something?
That's a very interesting thought.
Would she be able to shoot that good if she was a stormtrooper?
Fair point.
No, okay.
We know they're not good.
Hey, you know, the reason why they're not good aim in A New Hope especially is because they were ordered not to shoot to kill. Do you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Is this fact?
Pretty sure.
Where did you hear this fact?
I can't
or see
remember.
this fact. Well, I'm gonna need to see the evidence.
I cannot pull up the sources and the links.
I need to see the evidence for that, man.
Okay. Well, it's just like the reason why they let the Millennium Falcon go is because they put a tracking device on it.
Yeah, because they were wanting
that's
to find
why.
Luke.
Yeah, that's why Moff Tarkin was like, I'm taking an awful risk for this, Vader. This is better work.
Oh, you were talking
that?
about, I thought you were talking about Empire for some reason, how they tracked Han and them down when they went to Bespin. But you're talking about trying to find the Rebel base.
Yeah, in A New Hope.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And that's why we associate stormtroopers as having bad aim.
I don't know, man. I'll believe it when you show it to me, man.
Okay.
All right, let's keep going in this kind of rewatch of Chapter 4. We're digging deep, having some fun with it. The next kind of big thing that happens in this episode that, again, I think we're going to continue to get more answers and more details about is Din's past as a Mandalorian. And he makes the comment that he hasn't taken his helmet off in front of someone since he was a kid. And the kids that he points to, I mean, I would say they're no more than 10.
Yeah.
10 years old,
10, 12.
max. Oh, you think possibly 12? I mean, still, regardless.
I'm not really good at telling
Me either.
a kid's age.
Me either. Regardless, though, he has been in that helmet in front of people for a really long time.
Yeah.
And again, we keep I think with every single one of these rewatch series, we keep bringing up how Mandalorian culture is something that we want, we need, and we desperately crave. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
And we're getting more of it, okay? I promise. We're getting more of it. We're going to get it in Season 2. We're going to get it in Season 3 and 4. And until they keep running this show, we're going to keep getting it. Because that's how much people want it.
Oh, yeah.
Give us what we want. Okay, let's keep going. We got Din and Cara. So they ended up successfully kind of defeating the ATST and the Clatoonians. A nice little battle goes down. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I like the old school vibe to it with the pointy little sticks.
Yeah.
Setting up traps.
Yeah, yeah.
I get some like...
And the ATST.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get some like King Kong /
King Kong.
Godzilla / Jurassic Park vibes whenever that ATST is going through there with the red eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's kind of what I thought of. So, yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting battle that I enjoyed from start to finish. Now, they successfully complete the mission, and Din is like, I'm going to leave the child here. This is where he wants to be. But, of course, things don't work out perfectly. This is like a series of unfortunate events in Star Wars. That's what The Mandalorian is, basically. The child, we literally see a scope in between his eyes, which makes your heart stop every single time, even though you know what's going to happen.
First time watching this episode, when it, first came out.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. That scared me.
Oh yeah, it's a scary visual. But Cara Dune ends up killing this guy. And this causes Din to pack up, and the child's got to come with me.
Yeah.
And the episode closes with Baby Yoda's sad little face as he sees his buddies go away.
Yeah.
So sad. But, again, from start to finish, Chapter 4, beautiful.
It is.
Very beautiful and touching story.
It reads like a book, you know. This episode does. It reads like a book.
I agree.
You know, and how do we put our finger on it? Why we like it so much?
Well, it is one. Okay, so chapters 1 through 3 is action, action, action.
Yes.
And we're just seeing like Mando doing it. It's not gut reaction, but just doing things quickly.
Yeah.
Like with no like build up of character development or anything that. But with chapter 4.
Chapter 4 is a lot of dialogue.
Right.
It's dialogue with really good characters.
Yeah, and I felt like chapter 4 is the first episode in season 1 of The Mandalorian that we get Mando becoming like a brother/father figure for the child.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what makes me enjoy the episode so much.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. That puts my feelings on chapter 4 with a pin on it.
Mm-hmm. And to add on to that, the way that Mando, you know, he's like a leader in this episode.
Yeah.
Usually we see him just watching out for himself and for Baby Yoda.
Right.
But in this episode, we see him like lead a whole village of people in a fight.
Yeah, and he inspires them,
Mm-hmm.
and they want him to stay because he inspired them so much.
And he wanted to stay. You better believe it.
He did. Now,
so what can we take away from this and, you know, connect this to season 2?
well, I think that, you know, the things that we pointed out as far as, first of all, Din Djarin being that figure for the child is going to be present. That, again, I think this chapter establishes. I think this is the first one that lays that groundwork. And then I think, for me, I want to see more Din and Cara running missions together.
Absolutely.
Like they did in this one. So those are my two big things that I expect to see in season 2 continue from chapter 4. So, yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Right on.
Me too.
Now, we're going to keep this going. This is a double feature. Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. Not as great for me personally. Now, we visit Tatooine, which is literally Star Wars place. Like, when you think of Star Wars, Tatooine's the first planet that probably comes to everybody's mind. But for me, I guess just, I don't know. Like, when I think of Tatooine, I guess I probably just overhype it, and I'm like, this is about to be the best episode ever. But I felt like, and it's more so not necessarily like the story, but it's just, I don't know, the character of Toro, I just can't
I think that's
dig.
it. I think that's why you don't like this episode
Probably.
as much. Because I posed the question to him if he would find Toro as annoying if he ended up being the guy who, you know, stayed true and helped Mando out.
Right.
And you said that you wouldn't think that he was as annoying.
As annoying. Correct.
Right. And I agree with that.
Yeah.
You know, it's his trying to be cocky
Demeanor.
His demeanor and all of that. But all of that would have turned out okay and actually have been, you know, integral to us liking his character, I think.
Yeah.
If he had been a good guy in the end who actually helped Mando out in a bad situation.
I tend to agree with that. Now,
that's what I think.
Now, I do think that we've collected a really solid list here of important things to take away from this chapter. For me, I completely forgot about the opening of this episode where the Razor Crest is being attacked by a guild member. And that is what forces Din Djarin to have to go to Tatooine. For some reason, I completely forgot about that. I knew that he had to go there for repairs, but I didn't really know why. And the pilot, the guild member, says, I can bring you in warm or I can bring you in cold.
Yeah.
And so that made me think, is that like a guild member line? But then after Din Djarin kills him, he's like, that's my line.
That's my line.
There you go. That's better. So, yeah, like, how did he know that that's his line? Or is it a guild member code or saying or what? Like, I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's his line.
Okay, and you think it was just something kind of cool dialogue to do, and that's why it was in there? I'm reading too much into it. Probably. That's probably the case.
It's either something that the other guy thought to say on the fly, or it's something that he knew Mando said, and it was like, I'm about to take you down.
True. They probably knew each other, and that's how he knew the line.
Yeah.
Now, he goes to Tatooine, and I really love this character, Pelimoto, the woman, I guess, ship crew, or I don't really know her title.
She's a mechanic.
There you go, mechanic. Thank you for helping me out. I'm stumbling over words here on this late evening. But I really love this character, and I want to hear your thoughts on it. We know that we're going to Tatooine in Season 2. For me, I think it would be awesome to see her again, even if it's just for like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And it's Mando just like gives her a salute or something, and we're like, yeah, they're cool with each other because of what went down. We go back to Tatooine. Do you think we'll see her?
I think so.
Okay.
I would hope so.
I would hope so, too.
Because I would hope that they would exploit, the connection that Mando already has to Tatooine.
Yeah, and I think that's the beautiful thing about this being a series is we can just build off of these relationships that he's continued to develop.
Right.
And I think this is one of the great ones that we got from Season 1 that I would love to see some more of, even if it's not long. Because, again, I expect a lot of important things to go down when we see Tatooine in Season 2. So I know we don't have a lot of time to hang out with Pelimoto, but let's at least see something.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so and then this is where we meet this dude, Toro Calican, inside the Mos Eisley Cantina. Must be a Monday morning. There is nobody there.
Yeah.
There's no longer a dude running, or the bartender, or whatever, cantina tender, whatever you want to call it in Star Wars.
It's not a human bartender.
Yeah.
It's a robot.
It's a robot, which is really interesting because, again, in Episode 4, no droids were allowed in there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in our first review of Chapter 5, I think we really dove deep into that. I think we dove deep into the idea that, like, Empire and what they did with droids and how droids were treated during all of that and how that might affect what's going on here. But we're not going to do that tonight.
We're not?
No.
I was ready to get all into it.
We're going to do that would be like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So go back. Here's a plug. Go back and watch our original Chapter 5 review, and you can hear Jacob kind of explore that idea.
It's probably so much more awkward than this is.
So?
Just a year ago.
I mean, they can see our growth, though,
Yeah.
Well, regardless, it's still interesting to me. And it was interesting then when we saw it the first time. It's interesting to me again now that we've seen it a second, third, or however many times it's been now.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, it's just weird because for some reason as a kid, that line stuck with me. I don't know why, but when I saw A New Hope, like every time that moment came up when he was like, "Hey, there's no droids allowed in here." I don't know, like I always remembered that part from that movie. And so it's really weird to me, and it startles me when I see a droid running the show in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it just blows me away.
Especially when the droid is being like really blunt and doesn't have any Well, that bartender was really blunt too.
True. Very true. Now, immediate kind of why I don't like Toro Calican. He's sitting in Han Solo's booth trying to look like Han Solo.
Yeah.
And he's just not Han Solo, man.
Do you think that means that he knows who Han Solo is?
That's an interesting question. I would hope so. I mean, it's 5 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I would think so.
Do you think that was Han Solo's spot, and everyone in Mos Eisley knew that that's where he sat?
Yeah, there should be a plaque there that says Han shot first, or Greedo shot first, whichever side you're on.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those that gets upset about that. So whichever side you're on, they put a plaque there on that table. Han/Greedo shot first. I don't know.
Do you think that he's trying to emulate that that legend that he knows sat there at one time?
I think that's a possibility.
Yeah.
I think that's very much a possibility. To be honest, I don't like Toro Calican, but if I was in that position and I knew that was Han Solo's booth, I would probably try to be like,
yeah.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? It's the ship that made the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. You know, I'd be acting like it.
Yeah.
I'd be sitting over there, doing lines. But anyway.
This should be an easy bounty.
There you go. I mean, yeah. It's just, again, first impression for me with Toro in that cantina wasn't great.
But again, I still think that our opinion of him would change.
Well,
would be different if he turned out being, a good guy.
I still feel like the first time I saw it, when I didn't know that he was going to turn out a bad guy, I still feel like that rubbed off wrong. I don't know why.
I don't think it did for me.
I think it did for me. Now, regardless, okay, let's move past this. Let's move past it.
Oh, it's because you love Han Solo
True.
so much.
I mean, he is my favorite. They are going after Fennec Shand. An incredible assassin. That's what we get from word of mouth, at least. And she proves that later in the episode. Now, before we get there, though, Mando and Toro are on their way to find her. Really cool part when he negotiates with the Tusken Raiders with the sign language. So, we know we're going back to Tatooine. You think we'll see more of that in Season 2?
More,
Mando communicating with Tuskens?
That really depends.
I had a really interesting thought when I was watching it. I was thinking it would be really cool to see Mando do a mission with the Tusken Raiders, and they just rampage something like crazy.
Yeah,
that would be really cool to me.
Cool.
I think that would be the only situation where Tuskens would be heavily involved. I think it's just one of those cool tidbit things that Filoni saw as an opportunity, and he did it just for fun.
Yeah.
But you made an interesting point while we were watching it. When we see Tusken Raiders, we never really thought that they were any way okay with communicating with people outside of themselves.
Right.
So it's one of those startling moments. It's weird just seeing Tusken Raiders communicating.
It makes you think that they're more,
civil?
More civil, yeah. They're more humane than we've always thought they were.
Right.
Because, think about, okay, can I go on a tangent right here?
Sure, man.
Okay, so let's
Mando
go from
tangent talk.
Let's go from the beginning. When the Tusken Raiders attack the pod racers, right?
Correct.
Maybe they're doing that because they think that's their land, and they don't like these loud machines that are tearing through their land, right?
Can you blame them if that's the case?
Right. So then, episode 3, and, the moisture farmers, again, maybe they think that's their land, and that those people are setting up houses, setting up on their land.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the things that sticks out the most to me for Tusken Raiders is them taking Anakin Shmi.
Yeah.
and then Anakin just like wiping them all out.
Yeah.
Now, and here we go. We're getting way into a tangent. But Anakin doing that in Attack of the Clones, I mean, that's like your very first, like, man, that is Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah.
Just shredding women, the children, too.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, yeah, Tusken Raiders, it's just weird. It's weird seeing them in a way that it's possible for them to be civil. Because everywhere in the Skywalker saga we see them, they're wrecking havoc. So, yeah. Any other additional thoughts you want to throw out there?
Maybe it's just because...
about Tuskens.
Maybe it's just because they feel like they've been rejected the chance to be civil in those other instances.
I think that's 100% fair, and honestly, that's a really deep and interesting thought.
Yeah.
That I think we probably just kind of have to step back and again consider. It's like that thing where Adam Driver said it in an interview whenever he was hyping up the sequels. Kylo Ren thinks he's doing the right thing. But it's just hard for us it's hard for us as viewers to step back and see that even though they're being portrayed as villains, they may or may not be doing the right thing depending on the situation, you know?
Yeah.
So with Tusken Raiders, even though it seems like they're just blowing up pod racers for fun, they might be thinking that this is my place. Y'all are just thinking that you can do whatever you want. Please get off my property.
Get off my lawn.
There you go.
Get off my sand dunes.
Now, let's move along from this Tusken Raider tangent.
No, but you're
detail.
right. I mean, like, that's a recurring theme, you know, because people in the Empire thought that they were doing right.
Correct.
And Grand Moff Tarkin thought that he was doing right.
Correct.
So
Tusken Raiders, they do no wrong. You heard it here first. They're perfect. Everything that they do, just back off of them, okay?
So my final point with that is, you know, going back to how I said that, you know, I really love seeing the way that other people live and, you know, the way other people believe, I guess, in Star Wars.
Sure.
Aside from the main characters, you know, normal people. That's another reason why I thought that scene was so cool, is because we saw more background into Tusken Raider life.
No, that's fair.
You know, like civil interactions.
I don't
social
disagree.
Interactions.
I do not disagree whatsoever. Now, the rest of chapter 2, chapter 5. Chapter 5.
Well, I nodded my head at that. So.
Yeah, that shows you how, you know, look, man, we're ready. We're positive. We're good. We're hyped. We're amped. Let's go.
I haven't said anything wrong yet.
No, yet. Okay, Mando and Toro, they capture Finnick. Finnick informs Toro of Mando's value. Toro kills Finnick to set his target on Mando, and then Mando kills Toro. I mean, it was just like back to back to back to back to back. Stuff goes down. Now, I put this word kills in quotations. Is Finnick dead?
Yeah.
Okay, I think so too. But there's some people out there that think like there's a possibility that she's actually still alive because, and let's go ahead and get to our final point here, with that ending, we got those spurs approaching the, quote, dead Finnick. Is it possible for that individual, and we'll talk more about who we possibly think that individual is in a second, is it possible for that individual to be rescuing or saving Finnick, or is it just an individual observing a situation that just happened? I think he or she is just observing what happened, and it's just a tease for who that character could possibly be.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about who that character could possibly be. We got those spurs. Immediate reaction, Boba Fett.
Mm-hmm.
And we know with Season 2, we're going back to Tatooine. I would be stunned and shocked if we, number one, don't get an answer as to who that was. And
Right.
number 2, if it wasn't either Boba Fett or somebody in Boba Fett's armor. Your thoughts?
I think you're right.
Thank you.
I mean, I agree. I don't know who else it could be.
Yeah, now we could run through the options here. I think it's either Boba Fett is probably number 1. He survived the Sarlacc pit somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And
now he's wearing like a cape.
correct.
So that would be, maybe we could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. Now, he did use a cape. He did wear a cape, but it wasn't that length.
Yeah.
It was like maybe waist length.
Yeah.
Max.
Yeah.
It did not go down to his shin.
Yeah.
So it's either Boba Fett. It could be Cobb Vanth, that character that we've kind of talked about as a possibility in Season 2. He's a sheriff in Tatooine just wearing Boba Fett's armor that he found, that he bought from Jawas. And then the third option is Moff Gideon.
Mm-hmm.
Moff Gideon was tracking down, I guess. Okay, so and another thing that you pointed out, this individual doesn't have a tracking fob,
Right.
but this individual does have some device. It's kind of making a whirring noise.
Mm-hmm.
That's tracking Finnick, I would assume. But it's not a guild tracking fob.
Nope.
So to me, that eliminates Moff Gideon. Unless he's just using different tech.
Well, I was wondering, this is speculation time.
Speculate.
I was wondering, if it is Moff, then, I was wondering if he's got like a contractual agreement with Finnick for some reason. But then I was wondering also, how would that connect to Mando and the child?
Right. I don't know, man.
And I don't know how to answer that.
I can't wait for the Tatooine episode in Season 2. Solely because I really hope that we get an answer to this.
Yeah.
And I think so far through our rewatch series, some of the things I feel like maybe we stretch a little bit to try to connect it as much as possible.
Yeah.
But I really, truly believe that final scene here in Chapter 5 is a direct setup for Season 2. I don't have any question about that currently. So,
right after the halfway point for the season.
Right. And so far in our Season 1 rewatch of The Mandalorian, I think this point right here, that teaser, is definitely getting followed up in Season 2 when we go back.
We hope so.
So, final closing thoughts on Chapter 5, The Gunslinger. There's definitely some negatives for me, just because Toro... Yeah. And for me, again, I'm trying to take myself away from the character of Toro. I feel like sometimes like the acting by that Toro's actor was sometimes a little questionable. But again, I'm not a film or TV critic. I don't really care about all that stuff. I mean, and people and us as kids, I think we said it just because that's what grown-ups said. Hayden Christensen in Attack of the Clones, people roasted. But I think we just kind of agreed with it as kids because that's what all the adults were saying.
Yeah.
I don't care about that stuff, though, honestly. Like, I can look past it as long as the story's good.
Mm-hmm.
But again, a lot of stuff in this chapter, I think we're going to get some connections to in Season 2, so that leaves me excited. Your final closing thoughts on Chapter 5.
Well, what do you think we're gonna see?
What do you mean, man?
Right back around to you.
I just gave you that answer.
Okay. Well,
listen, we're gonna see a continuation of that final scene, and I do think we're gonna get a tip of the cap to Pelimoto.
Yeah.
And I do think we're gonna get Tusken Raiders somehow. I mean, we did see Tusken Raiders in the trailer.
That's the one that I was gonna say.
So, okay.
That's the one I was definitely gonna say.
Any of your just closing general thoughts on your thoughts on Chapter 3? Chapter 5. Jeez.
Hopefully we see, Hopefully we see that mystery character is Boba Fett.
Agreed.
Because I think that's what I would most like to see.
I would too. I want it to be Boba Fett at this point.
Yeah.
Like, initially I started out like, it doesn't have to be Boba Fett, but at this point I really want it to be.
Yeah.
Listen, it's been really fun. We touched on a bunch of different or not a bunch, 2 news things going on in the galaxy far away this week, but they were really cool 2 things. I mean, Star Wars Squadrons coming out and a new teaser poster for The Mandalorian. You love to see it.
A work of art.
Yes, absolutely. And we got to sit down and we watched Chapter 4 and Chapter 5 together, and it was really fun trying to pick those apart again and see exactly what might carry over into Season 2. If you, those of you listening, if you feel like we missed something in either Chapter 4 Sanctuary or Chapter 5 The Gunslinger, let us know in the YouTube comments. Reach out to us on social media and let us know there. Now, while I'm talking about social media, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mando Talk on all 3 of those platforms. And also, we've done some updates to our website, so go check out mandotalk.weebly.com. Jacob, thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I can't wait to, number 1, have that little Mando Talk camping outing that we're fixing to have.
Yeah, it'll be
fun. That'll be interesting as always.
I hope that I'm prepared for how cold the night's going to be.
Very much so. It's very cold in our area currently at night.
And
when I say very, I mean what, like 40s?
Yeah, which is not very for a lot of people out there.
True. So if you have colder weather than that, I'm sorry. It's just cold for us.
And you want to call us out for being weaklings?
Feel free.
We'll take it.
Feel free. Well, we appreciate you listening. We hope that you have a great and blessed week. And as always, we have spoken.